Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley says, "Our lives are on the line," following Charlie Kirk's death, vows to fight on. During an appearance on Fox and Friends, the Chrisley Knows Best star, who was set to join Kirk on a college campus tour before his assassination, opened up about the impact the conservative activist had on her life and explained why it is important to continue his fight. "I think when this assassin did take Charlie's life, that was the turning point for him," Chrisley said. "He thought he was ending Charlie's life, but he really just created millions and millions of Charlie's followers to fight. To fight for our freedom, to fight for us to have a voice. For me to watch it, it's so sad and it breaks my heart. To see Erica, Charlie's wife, step in as a woman and take on this role. Charlie knew that if he couldn't do it, she was the only one that could do it. I was so excited to get to sit next to Charlie and open up to him and get to know him on a more personal level, like a lot of my friends who got to know him," she said. "But above all else, Charlie has been a voice for our country." The reality TV star said it is remarkable to see how Charlie's legacy at Turning Point USA has impacted young adults, including her brother. "To watch my 19-year-old brother and watch all these college kids now show up and be loud and not be afraid because, at the end of the day, our lives are on the line," she said. 2028 is coming up. And Charlie, he wants us to fight. He wants us to be loud. And he said it himself. If you don't correct evil, if you don't speak about evil when evil is happening, then that in itself is evil. So it's my job to stand up, be loud, and really I don't care who likes it and who doesn't. I keep saying that above all else, Charlie Kirk and his wife Erica are Christians," she continued. "Isn't that really the message? I think bringing Christianity back into households is the only thing that's going to save us as a country. I know for me, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I don't know where I would be today without it. And so watching Erica, I don't know how she spoke the word of God after losing her husband. I mean, I was in such awe to know that she is now the leader of Turning Point. I mean, we only go up from here." The political activist had traveled around the country to college campuses, where he had conducted question-and-answer sessions with students and discussed key political issues. Authorities identified the murder suspect as Tyler Robinson, 22, who had been living with a 22-year-old roommate who is transitioning from male to female. President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and other prominent political figures are slated to speak Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, during an event honoring Charlie Kirk. Shortly after his death, Chrisley took to social media to share her thoughts. "In those 2.5 years, I've met so many great people and lifelong friends," Chrisley, who had been fighting for her parents' release from prison, said in a video shared on TikTok. "And one of those people that brought me into their world was Charlie Kirk. Someone who gave me a voice as a woman, made me feel like I had the power to show up in this world. And he was assassinated today. It truly was a political assassination. I don't even have the words. I'm processing it. I'm truly grieving for his wife, Erica. One of the kindest, most loving human beings I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. A woman who showed up for me. The last text that she sent me was the most God-fearing text." Chrisley said that she was ashamed that this is the world that my children are going to grow up in, but insisted she wouldn't let Kirk's name go silent. "He created a movement. His legacy is one that I hope I can build half of for my kids," Chrisley said. "All I can say is this doesn't make sense. I'm praying. I'm finding the words. I was supposed to be sitting next to Charlie every weekend in October. This is tough. Pray. Pray for Charlie. Pray for his parents, his children, his entire family. Erica, my heart is with you. I love you." Savannah Chrisley has never been one to hold her tongue, not when it comes to family, justice, or truth. But this time, her words carried a different kind of weight. Her voice trembled with grief and determination as she stood before a small crowd in Nashville on a crisp autumn evening. The news of conservative activist Charlie Kirk's sudden death had just broken, and Savannah's world seemed to tilt on its axis. It wasn't that the two were lifelong friends. Their relationship had developed in the wake of her parents' imprisonment. Savannah had connected with Kirk over shared beliefs about freedom, fairness, and the crumbling moral compass of modern America. He had given her a platform when others had turned away, and in many ways, she credited him with reminding her that her voice mattered. Now that voice was shaking, but it wasn't going to stay quiet. A shocking loss. When the news broke earlier that morning, Savannah was recording her podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley. Her production team paused as her phone began to buzz relentlessly. A text came in from a friend in media. "I don't know if you've heard yet. Charlie Kirk has died. Details unclear." The words didn't make sense. Savannah froze, her hands trembling as she read them over and over. "No," she whispered. "No, this can't be real." In the days following the death of her parents' close friend and vocal ally, the internet exploded with speculation. Some claimed it was a sudden medical event, others suggested foul play. Whatever the truth was, Savannah knew one thing. It wasn't just a loss for one man's family. It was a loss for a movement. Our lives are on the line. Later that evening, Savannah appeared at a candlelight vigil organized by local supporters. Dressed in a simple black jacket, her hair tied back, she looked exhausted but fierce. When she took the microphone, the crowd fell silent. "Charlie was more than a voice," she began. "He was a fighter. He believed in standing up when it wasn't popular, in speaking truth even when it cost him everything. And now he's gone, and I can't help but feel like we're next." Her voice cracked, and she took a deep breath. "Our lives are on the line," she said firmly. "If we don't keep pushing, keep fighting, and keep demanding accountability, everything he stood for, everything we've gone through, will mean nothing." There was an audible murmur of agreement. The atmosphere was heavy with emotion, but also with resolve. Carrying the torch. Savannah has been through public battles most people can't imagine. Her parents, Todd and Julie Chrisley, remain behind bars for financial crimes, a conviction Savannah continues to call unjust. Her days are split between raising her younger siblings, advocating for prison reform, and trying to rebuild her life in the public eye. Charlie Kirk had been one of the few public figures to openly support her during those dark moments. He'd invited her onto his platform, defended her parents, and encouraged her to see beyond reality TV and into the realm of real-world activism. "Charlie made me realize something," Savannah shared tearfully during the vigil. "You don't have to be a politician to make change. You just have to be brave enough to take the hits and still stand," glancing up at the sky as if waiting for an answer. "And I promise you, Charlie, I will keep standing." A divisive reaction. As expected, the reaction online was polarized. Supporters praised Savannah's courage, calling her a warrior for truth. Others accused her of politicizing tragedy. But Savannah didn't care. She posted a message to Instagram later that night. "You can judge my words, but you can't silence my heart. Charlie fought for something bigger than himself, and I'm not backing down. Rest easy, my friend. I'll carry it from here." The post quickly went viral, amassing millions of views and thousands of comments. Some fans speculated that Savannah might even launch her own advocacy foundation in Kirk's honor. "She's turning pain into purpose," one fan commented. "That's what real strength looks like. A family's ongoing struggle." Behind the strength, though, Savannah remains a daughter and sister desperate for change. Sources close to her say she's been quietly meeting with legal teams and media strategists to refocus her fight for her parents' release. "She feels like every ally she has keeps getting silenced," a family friend revealed. Losing Charlie hit her hard. He gave her a sense of hope when everything else was falling apart. Now she's channeling that pain into purpose. Indeed, Savannah's resilience has become her calling card. Through her podcast, appearances, and candid posts, she's built a reputation as a voice for those crushed by a system they don't understand. "Charlie Kirk's death," she says, "has only made that mission more urgent. He told me to keep going." 2 days after the vigil, Savannah returned to her podcast studio. The air felt heavier than usual, and her notes were filled with scribbles and tear stains. She hit record and began to speak, her tone softer than usual. "I wasn't sure if I should even do this episode," she confessed. "But then I thought about what Charlie would say. He'd tell me to keep going. He'd tell me to stop crying, stand up straight, and speak from my heart. So that's what I'm doing." She went on to share stories about their private conversations, about faith, courage, and forgiveness. "He once told me that the truth doesn't need to be loud, just consistent. That's something I'll never forget." The episode, titled "Carry the Fire," climbed to the top of Apple Podcasts' trending list within hours. The battle ahead. Savannah knows that speaking up will bring backlash. It always does. But she also knows silence isn't an option. "I've lost too much to be scared now," she said in a follow-up interview. "Charlie's death reminded me that none of this is guaranteed. Every time I go on air, I think, what if this is the last time I get to say something that matters?" Her determination has inspired others in her circle to step forward, too. Rumors swirl that she's planning a nationwide speaking tour focused on faith, family, and freedom. something Charlie had encouraged her to do before his passing. He believed I had a voice that could unite people, she said, smiling sadly. Now I'm going to make sure that voice doesn't fade. The legacy lives on. As the candles from the vigil flickered out one by one, Savannah lingered behind, her eyes fixed on the night sky. The crowd had dispersed, leaving her alone with her thoughts. Thank you, she whispered, for believing in me. The wind carried her words away, but in her heart, she knew they landed somewhere that mattered. Because even in death, Charlie Kirk's message and Savannah Chrisley's fire burned brighter than ever. I won't stop, she said, her voice breaking through the silence. Not until the truth wins. And with that, she turned away, ready to fight on, not for fame, not for validation, but for something far more sacred. The legacy of courage left behind by those brave enough to speak.